Boom bam pow, welcome everyone back to another video. Today it's gonna be Honkai Star Rail because Blade's video just dropped, and of course people are already messaging me in Discord saying, Walrus, what do you think? What is Blade, right? Skipping Blade? Should we skip Blade? What, like, again, this is not like end all be all advice. I always just give my opinion with the knowledge I know. Take it with a huge truckload of salt, but I do have my 2 cents to say about Blade, and I do think that a lot of people probably should be watching this video to the end to kind of get a better idea of what kind of character he is, and when it comes to general value, how does he sit amongst the rosters of limited time Honkai Star Rail characters. All right, so that said, name's Walrus. Make Genshin Honkai videos. Subscribe, stick around if you like. If not, maybe watch until the end and then decide for yourself. Okay, so let's talk about Blade. So Blade is a character that, if you played Genshin Impact, very reminiscent of Zhao or Hu Tao. He exchanges HP for more damage, and a lot of his kit is working around the loss of HP as a gimmick of building stacks and dishing out damage, right? So immediately there are certain issues with this character when it comes to synergies. Ah, yes, synergies, because this is a team-based game. You essentially have to pair him with 3 other characters to make a team to make him work, right? So I always hold the belief that you should always be pulling for characters that work towards your strength. What do I mean by that? Is if you have the supporting roster to support, let's say, Kafka, or to say support Jingyuan, Sile, or maybe in the future you have a very well built roster that just need Fu Xuan to complete, or you need Dan Heng and you have like a lot of his potential supports lined up, maybe already then, even if you do like Blade, it's not going to be in your best interest to pull for a character such as Blade. However, let's talk about Blade and some of his synergies and potential anti-synergies. So you guys can look at your accounts. Ideally, hopefully you have them open right now so we can kind of go through this kind of stuff together. So looking at your different rosters of characters, who is going to work well with Blade, who is not going to work well with Blade? Well, immediately, characters that have self-taunts just don't work well with Blade. For a similar reason why those characters also don't work very well with Clara. Clara is a character that has a counter mechanic built into her kit, right? You want her to take hits so she can deliver hits back. Oh, well, Mr. Svarog is going to deliver the hits back. But point being is that Clara is a character that does not enjoy other people taking the hits for her. She wants to be the one to get slapped around. So immediately characters such as Jeopard is just out of the question, right? Because Jeopard has an insane self-taunt ability, along with characters like March 7, which you can direct attacks towards a single character. In fact, March 7 has a great synergy with Clara when it comes to her shielding. However, unlike Clara and March 7 synergy, you guys might think, well, what about Blade? Well, the thing is, Blade needs to actually lose HP. That's the biggest difference. So Blade needing to lose HP already means that Jeopard, people like March 7th, are going to be more difficult to synergize with her. Other characters like Clara herself that steals away aggro from the enemies will be more difficult to work with Blade. Now, a lot of you guys would immediately be like, oh my god, then there's anti-synergy with Tingyun. Aha ha, very funny. I get the meme. Tingyun is like the biggest aggro sponge in the entire game, but we'll talk about harmony characters a little later. Just straight up, if you have a Jeopard and you have another healer, just know that, for example, if you have Natasha and Jeopard in your account, Natasha will be 9 times out of 10 stuck on Blade's team. It doesn't really even matter what kind of enemies you're going up against. You have to put Natasha on Blade's team because Jeopard is just gonna make it so that Blade never really takes damage, and it defeats the whole purpose of his kit. So you see, immediately, if people who don't have Jeopard, oh, thankfully I don't have Jeopard, right? I have Bailu and Natasha, or I just have Natasha, then Blade could potentially work better for you. So everybody should be able to make a team with Blade considering they do have Natasha. However, if you have characters such as Locha, such as Bailu, those are going to be slightly better options comparative to, let's say, just Natasha. However, like if you have to pick between Natasha and someone such as Bailu, Natasha does have a cleanse in her kit, whereas Bailu doesn't, so you also have to weigh against that, right? So a lot of things to consider depending on what you have. Now, you can also run Natasha if you have Branya, who also has a cleanse in her kit. So all these things are interchangeable. Following this, I want to remind everybody that Blade at his core is a DPS character. Now, DPS characters, you guys see it for yourself. we got Sealit, we got Jingyuan, we're getting Blade, and then we're getting Kafka, and followed by that we're getting Dan Heng's 5-star version. A ton of DPS characters are coming in the game. In my honest opinion, DPS characters are always just like, yes, they're the creme de la creme. They're the stuff that people oftentimes build entire rosters around. Like if you pulled Sealit, you're gonna pull other characters to facilitate Sealit, and not really the other way around. Oftentimes people want to pick and choose who they want to invest into. The DPS characters, in my opinion, are the greediest characters in the game, meaning they need the most resources, not only for themselves, right, their light cones, their traces, and their relics, but they also need rosters of support characters to support them. So picking Blade is by no means a bad choice in comparison to like Jingyuan to Sealit. You're gonna blow through content regardless. HoYoverse makes it a very clear-cut point that they're designing endgame content to make sure every DPS can smash through endgame. Every 4-star can even smash through endgame. There are going to be gimmicks that can help you smash through endgame. Endgame is by no means a good threshold for whether or not a character performs well or not, especially not in a HoYoverse title. So don't think for a second that just because Blade cannot compete with Sealit, let's say in a speed run, or not compete with someone like Jingyuan in an AoE damage environment, suddenly he's not a good option. He's an amazing option. All DPSs are going to be an amazing option. I guarantee you, HoYoverse sits in a room fine-tuning these numbers to make sure at the end of the day they're all gonna line up relatively close to one another. So then what is the point of making this video? Well, the thing is, Blade kind of functions in a different way than Jingyuan and Sealit, in my opinion. Looking at his kit, I do see the potential of someone like Blade functioning as a support DPS. Now, in this game, there has not really been a clear-cut limited 5-star support DPS apart from someone like Silverwolf. Silverwolf, Lotra, you could argue that while they do have enough damage in their kit to support or facilitate a secondary damage position in a team, but I think Blade might be one of the first that could actually be like a dedicated damage option in the secondary role. So playing Blade with a primary DPS option and then having a Harmony character on top of that and an Abundance character. The Harmony character, if it's somebody like Bronya, has her ultimate to buff the damage of the entire team, which Blade can certainly benefit from. There are other Harmony characters such as Yukong, who if you just fine tune the speed a little bit, Yukong goes and then the 2 DPSs go, could work as well. However, don't think that Blade is just purely a support DPS. You can certainly build a single carry Blade DPS team as well, which has a charm to it, right? So this is, I think, where Blade's biggest strength is his flexibility as a DPS unit. Now, is he going to be the best DPS unit in the game in terms of like numbers and statistics? I don't believe so. I do think because of his flexibility as a DPS, his numbers likely are tuned down a little bit in comparison to some of the other options. But that is, again, just being fair. Surprisingly, I do think Blade will have better longevity overall in the span of Honkai Star Rail because of his flexibility as a DPS. And in fact, his kit actually doesn't consume as much skill point as a regular traditional DPS as well. So flexing him into that supportive DPS position is going to cost you close to nothing. It's definitely going to bring your damage up overall. So if you don't need that, let's say if you don't have Silverwolf and you have someone like Sealit, you just need more damage to kill the enemies within a certain turn to fulfill the max star requirement for Memory of Chaos, maybe someone like Blade flexed with a primary DPS is gonna get the job done for you. So there's a lot of potential here for people to make him work in ways that we are not even thinking of. A lot of people just jump into this stuff. We're like, I'm gonna have a main DPS, he's gonna be like, he's my husband, I have to build everything around him. Give me, like, while that is completely fine, understand that for the people who are kind of on the sidelines, if you can make use of his DPS in teams that already have primary DPSs, this could be a good pickup for you as well. I know a lot of whales are not even caring about what he does or how he does what he does. They're gonna pull him regardless, and then they're gonna figure out what to do with him. It's just there's a lot of people, after hearing about, again, his nerfs to his ultimate and his kit overall in terms of damage, be like, it's a bit of a turnoff. I really was hoping he's gonna be a solid, strong DPS. Maybe that can rival, if not even surpass Sealit in certain ways. But it seems like he's more of a upper middle of the pack DPS unit unit that has a little more gimmick to him than traditional DPS options. Now, usually if there are restrictions such as having to lose health to build stacks, to deal damage, it usually means that when you meet these requirements, he's going to feel amazing to use. It's been the same for Genshin, and I don't think EroticWalruss is going to make him have a HP loss gimmick and not reward you handsomely for it in return. Personally, myself, I've said this on my live stream, I'm not pulling for Blade, but please do not think the fact that I'm not pulling for Blade is because he's bad or something. Look at my account, right? Like, I have made a name for myself in being very wasteful with my resources, my gems, and how I spend my money in these gacha games, right? Like, now, certainly, I'm not as wasteful as some of the bigger whales or leviathans, but I don't think I need to be spending excessively to pull for every single character. I want to enjoy the game. I've made a mistake in Genshin by pulling every single character, and nowadays, I only use 20%, if even that, of the characters I've pulled for. Truly, these games towards the end, that's what they gravitate towards. So you're not going to be playing every single character. You're going to have favorites. You're going to have preferred playstyles. There's going to be things that just make your life easier. And even if you like another character more, this team, let's say, makes things just faster, goes through everything more smoothly, then you're gonna pick the one that saves you more time. Again, this is just me being transparent with you guys. I'm gonna eventually gravitate towards a team that's more comfortable over, let's say, a character that I really like. I love Keqing, but using Keqing just makes my life more difficult in many situations. In Genshin Impact, especially in the end game, I can get something done maybe in 20 minutes, but with Keqing, maybe I have to spend 40 minutes. So I hope you guys get the point. I'm not pulling for Blade. I'm not pulling for Kafka. I'm only gonna be pulling for characters that I really like, or that can service what I'm trying to achieve in my account. But again, Blade is a solid character, amazing character. If you guys want to pull him, make sure to get him right now when he comes out. So that's all I gotta say for this. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Till then, urge you all to stay safe. Peace. Bye bye.